Before we start, please make sure to like this video and hit this subscribe button, so you never miss a story like this. And also comments where you are watching from, how many sons and daughters you have. Thanks.
My name is Emily Carter. I'm from Chicago, and if there's one thing I've learned in life, it's this: the people you trust the most can shatter you in a single moment, and sometimes, it happens right in your own living room. Never ignore the red flags, no matter how much you love someone. Give it back, Ryan. I'm not kidding. I screamed, my voice trembling with both rage and panic as I lunged toward my husband. He stood in the middle of the living room, holding the small, leather box like it was some kind of joke, smirking the way he always did when he wanted to get under my skin. "What's your problem, Emily?" "It's just a box," he said, raising it higher, just out of my reach. "Your parents sent it for my birthday. You're acting like it's going to explode. You don't understand." My hands shook so badly I could barely form words. "Please, Ryan, I'm begging you, don't open it." "Oh, now you're begging? Where was all that sweet begging when you were trashing me in front of your parents last week?" His voice was sharp, mocking. My heart pounded so hard I could hear it in my ears. "This isn't about us arguing. This is serious. That box," he cut me off, "is probably just another one of your parents' pretentious, overpriced gifts. You've been dramatic since the day I met you." I stepped forward, trying to grab it, but he shoved me back with his free hand, not hard enough to hurt, but enough to humiliate me. I stumbled against the couch, heat flushing my face as tears burned behind my eyes. "You think you can just push me around?" I said, my voice low, dangerous. He laughed, a short, cruel sound. "Oh, don't play the victim, Emily. You love playing little games. You probably planned this whole thing just so I'd owe you later. Ryan, I swear to God, if you open that box, everything will change. You won't be able to take it back." His smirk faltered for half a second. Just long enough for me to see that tiny flicker of uncertainty, but then it was gone, replaced by that arrogant, defiant look I'd come to know too well. "Then maybe I'll open it just to see what you're hiding," he said, and started to lift the lid. I lunged again, this time gripping his wrist with both hands. "Don't. You think you're proving a point, but you have no idea what you're walking into. What's in here, huh? Some love letter from your ex? A secret will? Or maybe a key to that little escape plan you've been working on?" The sound of my breath came fast, shallow. "It's not mine to tell. Just, trust me, Ryan. Please." His eyes narrowed, and for the first time, I saw something in them, not curiosity, but suspicion. He was reading me, calculating, the way people do when they know they've hit a nerve. "You've been lying to me," he said slowly. "Haven't you?" Before I could answer, there was a knock at the door, sharp, impatient. My stomach dropped. They were here. Ryan glanced toward the door, then back at me. "Who's that?" "Ryan, put the box down. Now." My voice was no longer a plea, it was an order. But he ignored me, striding toward the door with the box still in his hand. "Let's see who's so interested in your little secret." The knock came again, louder this time, followed by a voice, deep, commanding. "Mrs. Carter, we need to speak with you. Now." Ryan shot me a look, one eyebrow raised. "Friends of yours?" "Ryan, listen to me. This is your last chance to." But he'd already opened the door. Two men in dark suits stood there, their expressions unreadable, but their eyes locked immediately on the leather box in Ryan's hand. One of them stepped forward, his voice like steel. "Sir, I'm going to need you to hand that over. Right now." Ryan laughed, shaking his head. "Wow, Emily, you really went all out for my birthday. What is this? Some weird treasure hunt?" The man's jaw tightened. "I'm not going to ask again." Something in his tone finally broke through Ryan's arrogance. He looked at me. At the fear I wasn't hiding anymore, and for the first time since this whole nightmare started, he didn't look so sure of himself. "Emily, what's going on?" he asked quietly. I swallowed hard, my voice barely above a whisper. "You should have listened to me." The man reached out, taking the box from Ryan's hand. He didn't explain. He didn't need to. All I could do was stand there, frozen, as the walls around my marriage, and my life, started to crumble. And in that moment, I knew, whatever was inside that box wasn't just going to ruin his birthday. It was going to change everything. If you think you can handle the truth, stay with me. Because what my parents sent that day wasn't just a gift, it was a warning. And by the time Ryan understood it, it was already too late. The door closed behind the men, but the air in the room felt heavier, like we were breathing in smoke we couldn't see. Ryan just stood there, staring at the empty space in his hands where the leather box had been moments ago. His cocky grin was gone now, replaced by something I'd never seen on his face before. Not anger. Not confusion. Fear. "What was that?" he finally asked, his voice quieter than I expected. "You don't want to know," I said, moving past him toward the couch. My legs felt weak, but I forced myself to sit tall, to keep my hands from trembling. "No, Emily. You don't get to do that." He stepped in front of me, his shadow swallowing the light. "You don't get to scream at me, tell me not to open something, then have the men in black show up and take it away without an explanation." "What was in that box?" I looked up at him, meeting his eyes. "Something my parents should never have sent here. Something that isn't safe." "Safe," he repeated, his laugh humorless. "What are you even talking about? Are they criminals now?" "Don't," I said sharply. "Don't talk about them like that." "Oh, I'm sorry, should I be thanking them for turning my birthday into an episode of some conspiracy drama?" He leaned in, his voice low and venomous. "You've been hiding things from me, haven't you? How long have you been lying, Emily?" I felt my jaw tighten. "You think you know everything because you can push people into talking. But you have no idea what you just almost did." Ryan threw his hands up. "Then tell me. Stop talking in riddles. Tell me why a box from your parents has federal agents knocking on my door." I swallowed hard, my mind racing. How much could I tell him without pulling him into something he wasn't ready for? Without making him a target? "You've always wanted the truth," I said slowly. "But the truth doesn't come for free, Ryan. It comes with consequences. And once you know it, you can't unknow it." His eyes darted toward the door as if the men might still be there. They knew my name, Emily. One of them looked right at me like he'd been watching me for years. "If you don't tell me what's going on, I'll..." "You'll what?" I snapped. "Call them back? Demand your property like a spoiled child? You think they'll hand it over because you shout loud enough?" "No, Ryan. That's not how this works." For a moment, neither of us spoke. The ticking of the wall clock filled the silence like a metronome counting down to something inevitable. Finally, Ryan sat down across from me, his elbows on his knees. "Fine. Start talking. What's so dangerous about a birthday gift from your own parents?" I took a deep breath, my throat dry. "That wasn't a gift." Ryan stood up so fast the coffee table rattled. 1 hour? Leave the house? Emily, what the hell is happening? I grabbed my jacket from the coat rack, my hands moving faster than my brain could catch up. "We don't have time for this. We need to move." "Move where?" He blocked the doorway, his broad frame filling it like a locked gate. "You think I'm just going to walk out of my own home because some mysterious woman told you to? Tell me what's going on." The urge to scream at him was overwhelming, but instead, I stepped closer, my voice dropping to a level that made him lean in. "Ryan, if we stay here, you might not live to see your next birthday." That got his attention. The color drained from his face. "You're serious?" I nodded once. "Dead serious." His jaw worked like he was chewing on the words, trying to decide if they tasted like truth or paranoia. But before he could answer, the sound of tires crunching on gravel reached our ears. Ryan went to the window and peeked through the blinds. His face went pale. 2 black SUVs. No plates. My stomach tightened. They're early. Early? You mean you were expecting them? I didn't answer. Instead, I grabbed his wrist and yanked him toward the back door. We're leaving now. We cut through the backyard, the cold Chicago air biting at our skin. My boots sank into the half-frozen mud, slowing me down, but I didn't dare stop. The voices behind us were getting closer, low, commanding, and not afraid to make themselves heard. Emily Carter. Stop. I didn't look back. Keep going, I hissed. Don't stop no matter what you hear. We made it to the alley behind the neighbor's garage, but Ryan pulled me to a halt. We're just running blind. We need a plan. I turned on him, my breath clouding in the air. The plan is to stay alive. And that means getting to someone who can help us before they do. Who? My father's contact. He's the only one who'll know what's in that box and why they want it. Ryan's eyes darted to the street ahead, scanning for movement. And where is he? I hesitated for half a beat too long. Not close enough. Before he could reply, the sound of a car door slamming made us both whip our heads around. 2 men in dark coats stepped into the alley, blocking the way we came. One of them lifted his coat just enough for me to see the black handle of a gun. Ryan swore under his breath. Guess we're going the other way. We sprinted toward the far end of the alley, our footsteps pounding against the cracked pavement. Every shadow felt like it could hide another man waiting for us. Every sound made my skin crawl. When we finally turned the corner, Ryan grabbed my arm, forcing me to stop. Emily, you're going to tell me right now, are your parents spies, criminals, or both? I looked him dead in the eyes. Neither. They're protectors. And that box was never meant for you. Then who? A black SUV screeched around the corner ahead of us, cutting off his words. The passenger door flew open, and a familiar voice called out. Emily. Get in. It was my father's contact. But if he was here already, it meant things were worse than I thought. The moment we dove into the back seat, the driver slammed his foot on the gas. The tires screeched, the SUV jolted forward, and the blacked-out streets of Chicago blurred past the tinted windows. Ryan was breathing hard, still clutching his side like he'd just run a marathon. You want to tell me why guys with guns are chasing us? Because unless that box was filled with gold bars, this is insane. The man in the driver's seat didn't look back. His voice was calm, almost too calm. It wasn't gold. It was information. Ryan scoffed. Information? People are trying to kill us over a couple of papers? It's not just paper, the man said, his knuckles white on the steering wheel. It's a list. Names, dates, transactions. Enough to bring down people who've been untouchable for decades. And your wife's parents? They've been protecting it for years. Ryan's head whipped toward me. You knew about this? I stared out the window, my reflection a ghost in the glass. I knew they had something dangerous. I didn't know they'd send it to me. They didn't send it to you, the man said flatly. They sent it to keep it safe. And because they knew the moment it left their hands, their time would be up. Ryan's voice dropped. You mean, they're dead? The man didn't answer. I felt my throat tighten. I'd been avoiding that possibility since the moment I saw the box, but now it pressed down on me like a weight I couldn't push off. Why would they put us in the middle of this? I whispered. Because you're the only one they trusted, he said. But trust won't mean anything if we don't get you somewhere secure before those men catch up. Ryan let out a humorless laugh. Yeah, about that. How do we know we can trust you? The man's eyes flicked to the rearview mirror, meeting Ryan's glare. Because if I wanted you dead, I'd have left you in that alley. A sharp turn threw me against Ryan's shoulder. In the distance, headlights appeared in the mirror. 2 sets, moving fast. "They're here," the man muttered, pressing harder on the gas. "Hold on." The SUV roared down a narrow service road, the pursuers closing in. My heart pounded, not from the speed but from the realization that every mile we drove was taking us deeper into something I wasn't sure we could ever escape. Ryan leaned closer to me, his voice tight. "Emily, when this is over, you and I are going to have a very different conversation about your family." I looked at him, then at the headlights behind us. "If this is over," I said. And for the first time in years, Ryan didn't have a comeback. The engine roared, the night swallowing us whole, but no matter how fast we went, the headlights behind us clung to our tail like vultures over dying prey. The road narrowed into a strip of cracked asphalt flanked by skeletal trees, their bare branches clawing at the sky. "They're gaining," Ryan said, twisting in his seat to watch the SUVs closing in. "You got any bright ideas, buddy?" The man in the driver's seat didn't flinch. "One. But you're not going to like it." Ryan let out a bitter laugh. "Oh, great. That's comforting." The man swerved sharply, cutting across a dirt path that rattled the SUV so hard my teeth clicked together. The headlights behind us jerked in surprise but followed. My stomach pitched as we bounced over a ditch and burst into an open field. "Where are we going?" I shouted over the roar of the engine. "Somewhere they won't follow," the man said. Ryan looked around the empty stretch of land. "Yeah? Like where?" "The middle of nowhere." "Exactly." Before we could ask what he meant, he slammed on the brakes. The SUV skidded to a stop in the center of the field, dust curling around us like smoke. The pursuers slowed, circling like predators. "This is your plan?" Ryan barked. "Stop and let them catch us?" The man reached into his jacket and pulled out a second leather box. Identical to the one my parents sent. My breath caught. "Where did you?" He cut me off. "The one they took from your house?" "Fake. A decoy your parents planted months ago. The real one has been with me the whole time." Ryan's jaw dropped. "So you let them storm our house, chase us through the city, and nearly kill us, for nothing?" The man's voice stayed calm. "For time. Every minute they spent on the fake bought us another mile." He opened the box, and for a heartbeat, I expected documents, photos, something that screamed espionage. But instead, inside was a single silver key. Small, unassuming, ordinary, except it wasn't. Ryan frowned. "That's it? A key?" "It's not just a key," I whispered, recognition flooding me. My father had told me once, long ago, that if anything ever happened to them, I'd need to find the lock that ends it all. I thought it was just one of his cryptic metaphors. I was wrong. The man met my eyes in the rearview mirror. "That key opens a safe in Washington. Inside is the real list. And once it's out, the people chasing you won't matter anymore. Because the whole world will be chasing them." The sound of engines revving snapped us back. The SUVs were moving in. The man gunned the engine again. "Hold on. This field's not our graveyard. It's our runway." We tore forward, the key clutched in my hand, the future of my parents' fight now pressed against my palm. Ryan leaned in close so only I could hear. "When this is over," he said, "I'm going to want the whole truth. No more secrets." I didn't answer. Because deep down, I knew, there were some secrets he might never survive knowing. And as the darkness swallowed the road ahead, I realized my parents hadn't just sent a gift. They'd sent a burden, and now, it was mine to carry.